Thank you, Dr. Anand. Good morning, good evening. A warm welcome on behalf of International Academy of Ethics to everyone in the panel and those who are joining us online and those who will join us later. This is an event where all like-minded people have joined to welcome a wonderful human being. I've got a few lines for our special guest of honor. Here it goes. With folklore's grace and a scholar's art, Nandini Sahu weaves deep tales that touch the heart. With Ma Saraswati's blessing, she leads the way. Sparkle of this Vice Chancellor brightens the day. She exemplifies a poet's heart, a writer's art. Her words and vision set her apart. An editor's touch, both sharp and wise, in literature's glow, Nandini Sahu proudly thrives. A very warm welcome to you, Nandini.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I invite Maya Herman Sekulic, the Vice President of International Ethics Academy, who is an internationally published Serbian-American author of 30 books in Serbian, English, German, French. Her poems are translated in 27 languages. Of her poetry, Nobel laureate Joseph Brodsky said, her poetry is of the rarest talent and beauty as she is herself, as you can see. Maya is an acclaimed and multi-awarded poet, novelist, essayist, bilingual scholar, a Princeton doctorate, a major translator, who has been nominated by the IAE for Nobel Prize in Literature. She is a member of the American and Serbian PEN, American Academy of Poets, Association of Writers of Serbia, and Serbian Literary Society. She was schooled and lived all over the world, across Europe, USA to the Far East, and as a triple ambassador of goodwill, culture, and literature, has been building bridges between cultures for over 3 decades. She now shares her time between New York and Belgrade. Maya, I invite you to welcome our guest of honor.
Dear Rupa, thank you for such a beautiful introduction. I'm very honored to be here as the Vice President of the Academy that is becoming a household name. I was told by my dearest friend, Dr. Jernail Anand. I'm very proud of it, and I always put the name of International Academy of Ethics first in my biographies and my presentation. So now, besides the fantastic Rupa Rao, my dear friend, I also welcome Dr. Beena Singh, who is my dearest sister in India, and a great scholar and poet, Dr. Lakshmi Banerjee, who is absent for now, but who is also a very distinguished scholar and poet, Dr. Manju Chuan, and our dear Seema Jain and Swati Basu, who is the host of this. Without them, of course, this will not be possible. But above all, of course, I want to greet our president, Dr. Janil Anand, and his choice of our fellow, Dr. Nandini Sahu, whom I just met, who seems to wear my favorite color, cardinal purple, and who is Vice Chancellor of Hindi University of West Bengal. What is as important as her academic qualifications and positions is the fact that she is considered a major voice of contemporary Indian literature in English. She is, as far as I could find, the author of 23 books, and she is even a best-selling author on Amazon with her book of short stories, Shedding the Metaphors, and the 2 volumes of her selected poems. I'm very happy to meet one major voices of contemporary Indian literature in English because I love Indian literature in English. As far as poetry goes, my favorites are, besides Rabindranath Tagore, is Dr. Janil Anand, of whom I will speak soon, in 2 days. And as far as prose fiction goes, I happen to know and love Amandita Ray and Salman Rushdie, who was at the time president of the American Pen. So I'm sorry, someone was calling, so I don't know if you lost me or not. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, someone from New York was calling. I'm sorry. So anyway, as I was saying, in prose, it was Salman Rushdie, who was president of the Pen at the time when I lived mostly in New York, and Arundhati Ray, whom I adore as a prose writer. So, Dr. Nandini Sahu, I cannot wait to hear more about your impressive work as an academician and as one of the major voices of Indian literature. Thank you and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maya. Now, I'm going to take a minute to introduce formally Professor Nandini Sahu, Vice Chancellor, Hindi University, West Bengal, Amazon best-selling author, a major voice in contemporary Indian English literature. Nandini has accomplished her doctorate in English literature under the guidance of late Professor Niranjan Mohanty, Professor of English, Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. She is widely published in India, USA, UK, Africa, Italy, Australia, and Pakistan. Apart from numerous other literary awards, she is a triple gold medalist in English literature. She has received gold medal from Honorable Vice President of India for her contributions to English studies in India in the year 2019. She is recipient of prestigious Michael Madhusudan Academy Award 2024, Lifetime Achievement Award, SAFE 2024, and Tagore Samman 2025, Mukradhara. She is author and editor of 23 books. The Other Voice, Recollection as Redemption, The Post-Modernist Delegation to English Language Teaching, The Post-Colonial Space, Writing the Self and the Nation, Silver Poems on My Lips, Folklore and the Alternative Modernities, Volume 1, Folklore and the Alternative Modernities, Volume 2, Sukama, and Other Poems, Suvarnarekha, Sita, a poem 2014, Dynamics of Children's Literature, 0 Point, Selected Poems of Nandini Sahu, 2020 and then 2021, Rereading Jayanta Mahapatra, A Song, Half and Half, Shedding the Metaphors, Collected Poems of Nandini Sahu, Collected Poems of Niranjan Mohanty, Hindu Studies, Foundations and Frameworks, Sita and Medusa, a collection of poems. She is the former director, School of Foreign Languages, professor of English at Indira Gandhi Open University, New Delhi. And she now is currently the Vice Chancellor, Hindi University, West Bengal. Her areas of research interest cover Indian literature, new literatures, indigenous knowledge systems, Hindu studies, American literature, folk literature, children's literature, and critical theory. She is the chief editor, founder editor of Interdisciplinary Journal of Literature and Language, a biannual peer-reviewed journal in English. Professor Sahu has designed multiple academic programs on folklore and culture studies, American literature, post-colonial literatures, British poetry, children's literature, and Indian philosophical thoughts for IGNOU and many other universities. What a delight and a pleasure to have you with us, Nandini, and all our friends who have joined you here today in the panel welcome you from the bottom of our heart. The president and founder, IAE, Dr. Anand, who will now invite you, and we will go ahead with a wonderful ceremony. And joining all of us are Seema Jain, Manju Chauhan, Beena Singh, Sagar, and Swati Basu. Lakshmi Shri is not here. She will join us later. I invite Dr. Anand, the founder, IAE, also an author of 180 books, compared to Rabindranath Tagore, Serbian Tagore, who believes in not only writing prolifically day and night and churning out poetry and prose and conferring people with awards and acknowledging the work they do. He also believes that there is goodness in society and all like-minded people should be together. I invite you, Dr. Anand, to welcome Nandini Sahu.
Thank you, Rupa, so much. We welcome Dr. Nandini Sahu, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Hindu University, West Bengal.
Thanks a lot.
It is a great achievement of which we all who have known her, work her way up, are particularly very happy and proud. Since Dr. Nandini is at the beginning of a great career as an academician, we present her our best wishes to grow to greatest heights. A man is known not by what he achieves. I am making an observation. We generally go after achievement. A man is known not by what he achieves, but what he gives. In fact, this giving back is his real achievement. And here, the role of the IAE becomes relevant. We think that truth is very important in our life, but more important is truthful living, right conduct. So, from all of us who are in power, society expects exemplary conduct. By honoring Dr. Nandini Sahu today, we think she will always keep the ethical imperatives in her mind. Because generally, we get paid for what we are doing. But there is some work which needs to be done for which there is no payment, only satisfaction. So, with these words, Dr. Nandini Sahu, once again, I would like to underline what is real achievement, what we give back to our society, our these things demand of us. So we will expect much from you. This is our selfish interest also. Anyway, thank you very much for being with us. Now I will request Swati Basu to please show off the certificate so that it is conferred in the presence of our great friends, Dr. Veena Singh and other friends here.
Yes, sir, I'll do that.
Please show up the certificate. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr.
It
Nandini
looks
Sahu, Vice Chancellor in the University West Bengal, a celebrated author, academician, and cultural ambassador. So, with all our good wishes,
thank you.
we-
Hearty congratulations, Nandini.
Congratulations.
And we feel so proud of you and the work that you are doing excellently well.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Many
Thank you.
congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
And now we add one more. We say, fellow Nandini Sahu, fellow of IAE. A warm
Okay.
welcome once again.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. The certificate looks glorious, and you all are so kind. I'm very, very happy and honored to have received it.
And Nandini, we would like to invite you to share your thoughts and talk about how life has been for you as a vice chancellor now, otherwise all the work you've done in the pursuit of not just the literary writings you do, but also the molding of the minds that you've been doing for years as an educator.
Yeah, sure. Rupa, before we do that, probably we should allow Sagar to do his bit and go because, he has to go somewhere. Let him speak for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then let him go, then I come back.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. So
And
let
sorry
me
for this.
quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
No, we understand, absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming in, Sagar. And I know you are busy, yet you made time to be here because you are someone who also admires Dr. Nandini Sahu. So a couple of lines about Dr. Sagar Kumar Sharma. He is an assistant professor, Department of English, School of Media Studies and Humanities, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. He is a doctorate in English from Indira Gandhi National Open University. He is author of an edited book, Writers Speak, Volume 1, a special issue of Creative Saplings, Volume 1, and several research papers published in national, international journals of high quality index and repute. An SRF awardee from UGC, Dr. Sharma has keen interest in translation and creative writing, American literature, British literature, Indian knowledge system, literary theory and criticism, cultural studies, folklore and contemporary Indian literature are some of his key areas of interest. A poet at heart, like all of us here in the group, a researcher by temperament, and essentially a lover of art. Dr. Sagar is a member of the editorial boards of some important and recognized journals. I invite you, Dr. Sagar, please join us and share your thoughts and insights and your experiences with Dr. Sahu.
Good
And
evening,
please
everyone.
unmute yourself.
I think I'm already unmuted. Am I audible? Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, on this lovely, lovely day. And it's an absolute honor to be sharing this uh, platform with all of you and to be a part of this wonderful occasion when such a prestigious honor is being conferred upon Professor Nandini Sahu, ma'am. And ma'am, many congratulations to you. And I have been witness to so many of these that I'm pretty used to of these things now, if I may have the leverage to say so. And first of all, I would like to extend my gratitude for being given this opportunity to the International Academy of Letters. Uh, I mean, to be sharing this space with stalwarts like you is really, really getting me nervous, also, I must say, at the same time. But I'm really honored and privileged. And as for Nandini ma'am, if I formally go on to introduce her and start talking about her work, and it's a 25-page and odd long CV, so I don't think I'll skip that part, and I'll talk a little bit about my own understanding of Professor Sahu, both as a professor, a guide, and a poet par excellence. And Professor Sahu, a poet, professor, critic, and folklorist, she's one of the most important figures in contemporary Indian writing in English. The sky high number of her readers, making her the Amazon bestseller in 2022, is a testimony to the sea deep quality of her works. A professor by profession, a poet by essentiality, and a folklorist to the core, Nandini Sahu has touched the life and soul of many and in many ways. Her poetic output, one after the other, showed us new lights in which to see truth, and unfabricated truth. One of the chief proponents of social mobility literature, Madam Nandini Sahu has a vision, a cause. It has been my most cherished privilege to have known Professor Sahu for years now. And from what I have gained in all these years of my close proximity with her, I can tell you with some conviction that the poet in her would not yield a single line if it does not touch upon the life around her. She would often tell me, Sagar, what is a poem if it is not a story? What is a poet if she or he does not belong to a tradition? And unlike writers who propose theories about writing, but in practice their own writing is derived of their theorization, and it's devoid of the theorization. Nandini's poetry, I think, is true to her art, and her art true to her philosophy. Her writings, poetry or prose, always has a story to tell. And as she would always tell me, that my poems are, stories in verse. And as for tradition, the part of tradition, a sense of belongingness definitely is there, and she is an unapologetic academician, so to say. Willy nilly, she tends to root her works in some or the other relevant academic discourse. And that perhaps is the beauty of her art. However, or as I would say, moreover, the beauty of her art is not restricted just to that. There is, you know, at any cost, there is no sacrifice of truth and connection with real life situations. Even when she's theorizing, she's making it academic. It is, it is the story of people, people with flesh and blood, real stories. And even as a critique, Professor Sahu does not prefer complicating the obvious. On the contrary, she puts in language lucid such discussions that are crucial but beyond easy comprehension. She makes art what it is supposed to be, liberal. Inclusivity, as she would always tell me, is the ultimate purpose that she intends to achieve through her writings. Born on the land of Lord Jagannath, who is inclusivity godified, Nandini intends to create a literature, if not a world, that faithfully represents the flora and the fauna with equal respect as humans. This love for inclusivity perhaps makes her the fine folklorist that she is. Nandini's years of scholarly and passionate investigation of mythology, folklore, and history are manifest in her writings. Moreover, what is most interesting and awe inspiring about her is that Professor Sahu has the ability to be a poet, a critique, a folklorist, a modernist, an ecofeminist, and a reader, and all of this at once. Her Sita, something that has had long lasting impact on me. It a sort of impact that you cannot do away with, something that cannot be forgotten once you've read it. And I have so many things to say about Sita, and I get too emotional because uh, I remember one of my papers, presentations that made at an international conference, and therein all I could say was that there is a Sita-ness in me that I could realize after I studied this poem. I decoded this poem, and then Har Sita, if you read it closely, is a testimony of all these observations that I have made so far. and I leave it for her readers to decode these things on their own and not delve much deep into the academic discussions of the poem. Uh, she's already globally recognized for many of her works, but to give you an idea, a brief idea of the chronology, the first first public appearance of this author happened formally in 2004 when her first collection, The Other Voice, got published. The collection touches upon the themes of human experience of life, intersection of personal with the public, absurdity of the mundane. Remarkable in its own right, Sau's first collection is a curious mix. The Silence is a second poetry collection. Fluent with words, the poet captures silences in all their hues. A poem by Nandini is a story in verse, and she has many tales to tell. Based on the poet's philosophical interaction with the matters of the heart, this collection contains many a personally public poem. The collection may best be understood in her own words. I have taken care to include poems, and I quote Professor Nandini Sahu. She says that I've taken care to include poems treating with the secret chambers of human heart, and poems revealing a complex and rich treasure of emotions. In this collection, she pours out her concerns, fears, ecstasy through these poems, attempting to trace the social, philosophical, and spiritual environment around. Next is 2009 publication, her third, Silver Poems on My Lips. This encapsulates songs that are therapeutic, songs that help the poet and through her verse, her readers to live, breathe, sing in a world which otherwise is a pool of personal pain and suffering. Nandini expresses her discomfort with the standard operating procedures of the world, that she does not spare even, and that does not even spare the poet. For her, such demands make today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's monotonous. Her fourth collection, Sukamma and Other Poems, is Nandini's tribute to all those people and all influences that made her who she is today. Sita, a poem, her fifth collection, is most critically engaging and challenging book. However, Nandini had written many poems and collections before Sita. This work made her a household name. The focal point of creative and critical discourse on gender, gendering, identity politics, and body politic, and feminist discourse, of course, without making any claims to be revisiting the epic tale, which is often misunderstood at the surface level, and even without denying the obvious, of course. Nandini clears her stand as an essential ecofeminist. This rather long poem is her brand of alternative modernity through her indigenous brand of feminism, which problematizes the male female dynamics. And she does it both ways, not just the lopsided view. And it problematizes the male female dynamics. She lays bare the power politics at play and the schemes of patriarchy. In a way, this work is an exercise in demythification. Next is Zero Point, published in 2018.
Sagar, excuse me for jumping
Yes, ma'am.
in. I just wanted to suggest a lot of this will be on Wikipedia or
Absolutely,
somewhere
absolutely.
written. I would like to hear from you in your words an
Absolutely.
anecdote, an experience you have with Dr. Nandini Sahu, which would be
Okay.
more fascinating to all
Absolutely,
of
absolutely.
us. That would be really of interest to us. What do you say, Dr. Anand?
Okay, okay. Certainly, ma'am. Certainly.
Now,
So,
Dr. Nandini Sahu.
okay, okay. One quick anecdote, an incident that happened while we were discussing my own research, and then this will reveal to you many facets of Professor Nandini Sahu. She as a professor, herself as a professor, as a poet, and as a thinker, a philosopher. We were discussing about the various aspects of writing, and then in the middle of a discourse, I asked her, "Madam, what do you think is more important, content or style?" And then the discussion, it has many facets, like some people have this preference of content over style, some talk about style over content, and then she so wonderfully put it. I mean, it made she made it so simple that how style and content cannot I mean, one cannot survive without the other. And then so many of her poems she quoted, and one of my favorite was her, tranquility. Tranquil is my city tonight. That's something that marvels me every time I read it. And I would just like to wind up my discussion on Professor Nandini Sahu that every time I read her, every time I think of her, I only think that what art thou we know not. What art thou we know not, what is most like thee. And then I think of these lines that give us half like gladness, and the world will listen then as we are listening now. Thank you very much.
Sagar, wonderfully done. Thank you so much for showcasing Dr. Nandini Sahu for us, and we appreciate your time. And now, Nandini, you who writes without apology, edits without ego, someone who believes in content with style, I welcome you to share your insights with all of us.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Sagar talked so much about my work, but he forgot to mention that I have been a very, very strict teacher with all of them. When it came to research, submission of a chapter or submission of the PhD thesis, I never made compromises of time as well as quality. He didn't mention that. I think it's my duty to mention it here. Thank you, Sagar. I think you can log out and go. He was on the way. He was going somewhere. We stopped him. So, Sagar, you can go. Thanks a lot for all your kind words.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Sagar.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Bye
Now,
bye.
yes, formally, let me put it on record that I'm extremely grateful. I extend my gratitude to International Academy of Ethics and especially Dr. Anand. uh, I'm amazed somebody is author of 180 books. I have read quite a few of his books. Very recently, I got to know him only last year, and then I have read quite a few of his books, and he is writing social mobility literature. He is working for people around him. He believes in inclusivity and flexibility in literature, and he believes in felicitating and facilitating people. So I'm so glad that I got to know Dr. Anand, and I'm grateful to all of you to be here to confer this honor on me. And dear Rupa, you have been in touch with me last few days. I got to know you through another group, through a page, and then I saw your work. We shared platform in one of the online meetings. After that, there is no looking back. We have been discussing our literature and life and a lot of things. You sent me such interesting questions, and I sent you the answers as well. I hope they were satisfactory to you. So, Dr. Anand, and then dear Maya, you spoke so nicely, so kindly. Then dear Rupa, Dr. Swati, then Dr. Sagar in absentia, Professor Lakshmi in absentia, then Professor Veena Singh and Dr. Manju and everyone out there, and the people who are watching us on YouTube, if you are sharing it on YouTube. A very good evening and namaskar to each one of you. This evening is very special for me. I am in Kolkata since last 5 months. I lived in Delhi for 20 long years. Before I was in Orissa I was doing my graduation and post graduation in Orissa. After which I did my PhD in Shantiniketan. Then I went to Delhi. I became a professor and a director in Delhi for many years. I worked there, and then I came to West Bengal as the vice chancellor. So this is my professional life. It's very long, so I'm not going to talk about all of them. But like Rupa said, please allow me to speak for another 5 to 7 minutes about my the work that keeps me engaged or the things that interest me. I believe that a writer has to be a good human being first. Otherwise, we would end up as word jugglers. If somebody has very good vocabulary, they can juggle with words. They can create rhyme scheme. They can do a lot of word juggling and poetry, technical poetry, different varieties of poetry. But like Saga told you just before 5 minutes, that for me every poem is a story. Without a story, I cannot write a poem. For example, my poetry collection Sukama and other poems is my tribal poetry collection. When I was a small kid, I was a child in Odisha, and then we had a domestic help at our place. Her name was Sukoma, Sukoka mother. And then she had, vertical and horizontal tattoos on her face. Her husband created those tattoos because a wife cannot look beautiful, so that other people should not be attracted to her. So she was a tribal woman. She could not speak in English or Odia, and we could not speak in her language, Kui. But the common language that we shared with Sukoma was the language of love. We understood the language of love, and then gestures. We used to exchange gestures with her, and she was a virtual mother for us. Little bit of personal here. I belong to a family of six girls, six sisters, half a dozen sisters, and my father was a school teacher. My mother, equally, she was a school teacher, and they had the audacity of giving education to six girl children, despite so much of social pressure to get us married off at 14 or 15. But my father had the conviction that my girls should get education, so he got us into schools and colleges and universities, but most of them were on non-collegiate and correspondence and all those mediums. I studied in Odia medium schools throughout. And then I got introduced to English language when I was in class 4, just 100 marks paper. And when I read that language, I fell in love with that language. And then in class 4 in Odia medium school, I told my father that I'm going to be a professor of English. During my childhood, I knew that I'm going to be with this language forever. It became my language of thinking. It became my language of my conscience and my consciousness. I got into this language with deep love and attachment. And then my father was a school teacher, and also he was in charge of the library of the school, the Habbak High School, that was the school, and he was in charge of the library. And then when I used to come back from school, my father told, I was a child of high energy. I would never sit at peace if I didn't have any work. So they used to tease me that this girl can never sit quietly. So my father said, okay, channelize your energy, go to the library and be my librarian, catalog the library. So I started as a librarian, of course, unofficially. After school, I would go to my father's school library. It was a very big library, and I would, categorize the books: biographies, autobiographies, and stories, and novels, and history, political science, mathematics. While cataloging the books, I spent days and days in the library. I never wanted to come back from the library. So I was my father. I have written a story, The Librarian, that was about me. And then, in due course of time, when I came to Delhi, when I was 30, 29 or 30, then I came to Delhi as a teacher of IGNO. Then I created my own library. It took me back. I was nostalgic. At the vintage point, I looked at the library in a small village where there was hardly any electricity, hardly any education. It was a village of the tribal, the subaltern, and the marginal people. People used to speak Kui language. Now that is one of the endangered languages of the world. So my background takes me to become a folklorist. Many people ask me that you did a PhD in English literature. My training is in English literature. I studied British literature, American literature, Canadian studies, Australian literature, and linguistics kind of things which are so elite and so, they are the mainstream subjects, the so-called mainstream, I would say. But I always became more interested in the marginal studies. Though I studied British literature and I have designed multiple courses for my university, IGNO, on British literature and American literature. I have taught those subjects. Literary theory is my favorite subject. I have taught all those things, but then I became more interested in designing academic programs in folk literature. So I have designed the country's first MA in folk literature program, which is near about 15,000 pages in print. If you go to IGNO website and look at e-Gyan course, you will find at least 15,000 pages of open access study material, very high quality study material prepared by the best brains in the country, of course, under my supervision, where I have equally 50% I have contributed, 50% we have to take outside sources, and then I have created that program. That MA in folk literature is a very, very famous program. Civil means candidates for civil services to university teachers to students, everyone reads those programs. And then now before I left IGNOU for 4 years on Leon, I came to West Bengal in this Vice Chancellor's position. My parting gift for IGNOU was a BA program on Indian knowledge systems and Hindu studies. The title of the course is Stories from Epics, Puranas, and Siddhantas. That course is going to be launched in July 2025. I have submitted the print orders and the printing process is going on. And that is one of the most important and outstanding works that engaged me for a few months of my life. And I learned so much. I read the Ramayana, Mahabharata, so many, the so-called mainstream texts and also the marginal, the oral and the folk texts of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata and all of that. My long poetry book, Sita, a long narrative poem, when I wrote that long poem, I had to read 300 Ramayans. I visited the Ramayana map of the world. I went to many countries and many states, and I had interviews with the Ramayana scholars. I got to know so much from them. Madhav Kandali's folk Ramayana and so many texts of the Ramayana, like Rupa said, if you go to my Wikipedia or you Google Nandini Sahu, you will find the book Sita and so much of discourse there. What kind of Ramayans I have read and what kind of things that influenced me when I wrote that long narrative poem Ramayana. So I'm not going to speak about all of that here. But yes, I so agree with Dr. Anand when he said that at this point of life, we have to give back. We have to pay back to the society. The society has given us so much. If I look back before 25 years, when I was a very young person, I had a baby and I was a single mother at that point of time. I'm still a single mother, of course. And then I was a survivor of uh, allow me to be a little bit personal. I was a survivor of domestic violence, but then I came to Delhi. I practically ran away to Delhi with my newborn baby, and then we lived in Delhi. Then, my child had multiple issues with his speech and so many other problems. He had medical issues, but today he's doing PhD in English in Delhi University, and yes, he is. I won't say that. I am an extremely successful mother, but yes, I tried to be a good parent, a good mother, a committed mother, and also a committed teacher, a social worker, a professor, and a folklorist. I'm happy when somebody calls me a folklorist because I have closely worked with the tribal communities, the folk communities. I have traveled many countries and I've spoken to the folk communities, the dying language groups, and then we have created language archives for the endangered languages of the world. I have often talked about it in many of my videos and lectures that initially in the world there were 6 lakh languages and today there are only 6,000 languages. So what happened to rest other languages? They died a natural death due to the absence of anyone archiving them and documenting them. So somehow I thought that this is the responsibility of people like me now who are empowered and also take interest in language studies and folklore. It's our duty to archive and document those endangered languages, and I worked towards that. And one of the courses in this MA program in folk literature deals with the endangered languages of the world. Now, coming to Hindi University, where I am the Vice Chancellor, I have introduced a lecture series, Comparative World Literatures. I'm only 5 months old here, and within 5 months, 34 people have already spoken. Today, two very interesting and important scholars, one from Netherlands and one from Pune. So see the combination. They spoke, they delivered lectures on the theory of translation and how in the comparative world literature's pedagogy, translation plays an important role. I so agree with the NEP document that we have to be intercultural, interlingual. In a multilingual country like India, where there are 22 scheduled languages and also English is one of our official languages. So basically, we have 23 accepted languages, and then we have at least 7,000 folk and tribal languages. In a country like India, we cannot claim that this or that language is superior to this or that language. All the languages are equally important. Archiving them, documenting them, creating literature and archives of all those languages is our moral and ethical and also academic responsibility. I feel that I am a teacher with accountability and responsibility. Now that I have a platform where I'm a vice chancellor, where I can inspire and I can create space and room for people to do their research independently, and then I can help them out emotionally, socially, and probably financially through some fellowships and all of that. I think now it's the important period of my life. Now time is ripe that God is kind enough to give me this, opportunity to pay back to the society which has given me so much. Coming from rural Odisha, from a family of 6 girls where education was a challenge, survival was a challenge. Then coming from a situation of violence, today, if I have got this position by the grace of the Almighty, then I think it's a very, very important time for me to provide that space and that opportunity to people. When I left the world's largest university, IGNO, for 4 years and came to a new university like Hindi University in West Bengal, which is technically and basically a language university where we are creating comparative world literature's pedagogy, many people asked me that, what's wrong with you? You came here to a new university, it's a big challenge for you. I said, for me, challenges are opportunities. Because if you give me a place where everything is well in place and then I have nothing much to do but rather to enjoy myself, then I think that is not so attractive for me than a place where I can go and create departments, and I can create opportunities, I can create employment, and then design academic programs, and then set up a system, shift to a new building, and then inspire my faculty and my students. I think that kind of an opportunity is not exactly a challenge for me, but something very positive, because I believe that I have the energy and the capacity to take up these kind of things. And I'm very happy in the beginning itself, at the beginning of this program, when Dr. Anand and Rupa, they asked me something about myself. I was kind of bragging, I was boasting that wherever I go, people fall in love with me. That I was kind of bragging. Then Dr. Anand said, no, on the contrary, you love people. Yes, I am a lover. I love everyone. There is no place in my life for any kind of hatred or judgment. I will never judge people. I always pray God that at least create this much in me, that till my death, I should never be negative or judgmental or complaining about other people when I fail to do something. I try to maintain that positivity in my life. And then about my poetry, uh, mythology and folklore, they have been my inspirations. My poetry collection, Sita, as Sagar said, and also I mentioned that I read 300 Ramayans before I wrote this long poetry book, Sita, out of which 298 were folk Ramayans. And the folk Ramayans, they broadened my worldview. uh, People usually think Valmiki, Ramayana, or Ramcharitmanas, those are the only Ramayana texts, but it's actually not so. In the Indian folklore situation, there is no dichotomy between the Margi and the Deshi. There is no high culture and low culture in Indian literature. In the making of the contemporary Indian literature, we exchange hands between classical, folk, and contemporary. We have to understand the thin line between classical, folk, and contemporary and modern literature. But then also, we have to know that without exchanging hands, these four literatures will never survive. In Indian literary scenario, there is no Margi, no Desi, rather all the literatures, they belong to one flow, and they belong to one river, and all the rivers are going to the ocean, and that is the ocean of Indian literatures. And by Indian literatures, I mean Indian writing in English, Bhasha literatures, and then folk and oral literatures as well. Oral literatures are as important as any written literature. So we have to give importance to those. My next poetry collections are Karna, which is under publication after Sita. Then Medusa was launched only 3 days ago, and my publisher was telling me, he was kind enough to tell me that Medusa has been doing very well. In 3 days' time, they have sold more than 400 copies. So the publisher was congratulating me this morning. I said, my readers are so kind to me. They are curious to read what Nandini has written. And then other poetry collections under public means I'm writing those, drafting, and I have to do a lot of editing. I'm very, very self-critical when it comes to creative writing. My poetry collections are Urmila, Lakshman's wife, and then other one is Mirabai, and another other one is Draupadi. So I'm writing these poetry collections, and yes, I believe in a rhyme scheme. for me, bad prose is not poetry. I believe in a typical rhyme scheme. I have to maintain that 4 line, 3 line, 5 line stanzas, whatever it is, but there should be a rhyme scheme. And I'm working on champu as well. Champu is prose poetry, and where you write in paragraph, not in stanza pattern, but in paragraph, but there should be internal rhyme. So I'm writing champu kind of poetry as well. And as I told you in the beginning, that I believe in flexibility and inclusivity, and I'm not a word juggler. In my small little way, I try to give education to girl children. In my poetry book Sukoma, when I tried to protect Sukoma's daughters, Sukoma was a victim of violence. There were facial tattoos on her face. Her husband had done that to her, but I had hit her husband black and blue when I was 7 years old. Even then, I was a feminist. And then later on, when I came to Delhi as an empowered woman, I went back to Orissa and I brought Sukuma's daughters to Delhi, and I settled them in different NGOs. I gave them education. And then today they are independent women. They are doing good for themselves. So I think as creative writers, we are empowered, and we should give back to the society, as Dr. Anand will definitely agree with me, that tangibly we must try to give back to them. And my tangible contributions are research, design of courses, launching academic programs, creating employment for people, and protecting the subaltern, the marginal, and giving them a voice who cannot speak for themselves. I have been trying my best in my squirrel way, in my small little way, to do these things for them. And in that process, I would certainly need the help and support of people like all of you. You are so kind. You thought about me. You wanted to, encourage me with this award and this, this respect and, this felicitation. So certainly I will need the support and help of each one of you in designing new syllabi, propose good books to my syllabus, a syllabi of different courses that I am designing. Off and on, advise me, suggest, recommend, guide. I need the help of Dr. Anand and Rupa and everyone sitting here. Professor Lakshmi Sri, who has been so kind. She knows me so closely. She knows me since decades. This morning she said, Nandini, since how many years I know you? I said, ma'am, it may be 100 years. So we were laughing. So even she has been very kind. So I request all of you to keep guiding and supporting and helping me. Keep your blessings on me. I need that forever. Thank you so much once again. I am honored, and I am privileged to be a part of this. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Professor Nandini Sahu, Fellow IAE. It is a pleasure hearing from you and all about your life and how you are a voice for the voiceless and the marginalized, and those right from your childhood connected to you have been touched by you. So congratulations once again. And I take this opportunity to invite my dear friend, Seema Jain. She is a bilingual poet, short story writer, translator, editor, critic, ex-head Department of English, a recipient of multiple prestigious awards. She has 15 published books, 5 collections of English and Hindi poems, 2 edited books, a book of translated poems, 2 translated novels, and 3 edited poetry anthologies, 1 each for Sahitya Academy. She has been a speaker at Jaipur Literature Festival, Sahitya Academy, and SARC Countries Lit Fest. She is an associate director of IAE, president LitSpark, and MKM Punjab unit. Her poems are globally published in about 150 anthologies. Seema, a warm welcome, and the stage is all yours. The platform is all yours.
Rupa, please allow me to speak for 1 second.
Yeah.
I know Seema since many years now. Her creative work on KK, isn't it? I was a part of that program to talk about her poetry book. Seema has been doing excellent work. I'm so sorry that I could not mention her name. She's a very dear friend and a very kind person. Thanks a lot, Seema, to be to be present here. I'm sorry that I could not mention your name
Thank you.
earlier.
I thought probably I'm not visible on the screen, so that's why you have missed out. But anyway, it's okay. And yes, Nandini, I'm very happy to be a part of this felicitation program because, as Nandini said, that I have known her for quite some time, and we have been together into many things. The first being the poetry anthology that I did for Sahitya Academy. It was a collection of poetry of 102 21st century Indian women poets writing in English, and that is how I initially connected with Nandini. And then, of course, I was a part of another anthology which she edited along with a couple of other editors. That was, I
Yes,
believe, Soul Spaces,
yes.
Soul Spaces, Cities, Villages, Towns. So
Hmm.
I was a part of that anthology. So it was a pleasure working with her at that time also. And
Right.
then, yes, as Nandini just now told you, that when my book on KK, a work of translation from Hindi to English, it was launched in Delhi. And then Nandini was kind enough to launch that book and to critically discuss that book with me. So that was a very beautiful experience. The way she presented the book to the audience and the way we interacted with each other about the book. That was
Yes.
one of the most memorable experiences to be in conversation with her about that book. And then, of course, last year when we were planning to hold a panel discussion for International Academy of Ethics, then probably, I think I became instrumental, and I'm so glad about it. I became instrumental in connecting Dr. Anand with Nandini, and
Yes.
she was due to join the panel discussion, but unfortunately, due to some exigency, probably at the last minute, she could not make it. So there was some technical issue with the event itself. So anyway, I'm glad that Nandini has now joined us as a fellow of International Academy of Ethics, which is indeed a pleasure and an honor. And talking about her work, I think first of all I must congratulate Nandini for whatever she spoke today. It was so impressive, and one felt that it should go on and on. And the outstanding work that she has done, it was just a glimpse into that, a window to that. And I believe that the quantum of work and the impact that her work has made, it is much more voluminous and much more deep and immense. I congratulate her also on becoming the Vice Chancellor of Hindi University. And since she has taken the reins of this university, I keep seeing on social media and otherwise, I keep hearing about the stupendous work that she is doing. And as a young and energetic person, full of ideas and full of innovative plans, and also the stint that she has had in social work. And I have known her as a very committed feminist, and that aspect of her personality is visible in her poetry as well. And I became alive to that when I read her poems, which I included in the collection Vibrant Voices. And I think the feminism that she has, it is not just skin deep; it is much deeper, and it is part of her thinking mechanism. It is part of her, and as she just now shared, that she related an incident and talked about the story Sukama, and she says that I was a feminist even in my childhood. And her feminism is very, very touching and forceful and impactful. If you allow me, I would like to. I was just looking at this book, Vibrant Voices, and
Yes.
her poem therein. It is about Ahilya, the poem
Yes.
that was included in this collection. It was based on Ahilya. Ahilya is waiting. And I would like to quote a few lines from this poem to bring out this aspect of her personality. When Ahilya rejects that kind of redemption by the touch of Lord Ram, she refuses to believe that she is a sinner. And these lines amply convey that my redemption lies not just in your touch, but in zero tolerance of any marginalization. I need a rejoinder from the society and you, oh, the most knowledgeable one, for my quintuple patriarchal relegation. Father presented me, the puppet, to my husband of his free will. My husband couldn't fulfill me as a woman. Indra tricked me to satiate his desire, not mine. Inept, impotent husband cursed me. With what right? Oh, with what right? To become a stone, exactly at a moment when I was satiated as a woman. And now, why do I need? I think this is beautiful. Why do I need yet another man? You, O Ram, to touch me and cleanse me of my uncommitted sin. I think these lines they amply illustrate the her commitment to feminism and feminist thought. So, Nandini, congratulations for all the outstanding work that you are doing. And I look forward to more continued association with you in other projects and also through International Academy of Ethics. So, once again, congratulations. And it is an honor for us to have you on board as a fellow of International Academy of Ethics. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Seema.
you,
You are so
Seema.
kind. And Seema, the poem you quoted only yesterday, it was taken as a part of MA Gender Studies in some university in South India, which I will
Beautiful.
announce once I receive the
Beautiful.
letter from them. It
Oh,
was
that's
taken
great.
only
That's
yesterday.
great because, this poem is so forceful and so powerful. I have always loved this poem. And
Okay.
when I was just sitting here, this book was lying in front of me. I just
Okay.
picked it up and looked at the lines, and I thought I must share with all the people, eminent,
Okay.
learned people here.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Seema, and congratulations once again, Nandini. And here
Yes.
is another very dear friend, Dr. Manju Chauhan, an author of 4 books, is a professor at Chandigarh University, Punjab. She is a bilingual poet. She has widely presented and published her poetic works in multiple national and international anthologies and journals. Her Kavya Kaliyan, Prem Prahari, Echoes and Sighs, and Bricolage stand as a testament to her literary depth. Her works have garnered acclaim for its poetic richness and emotional resonance. Her recitation of poems during national, international poetry conferences and on social media platforms are widely appreciated, and she's facilitated with awards. She has been conferred titles like Kavya Shri Samman, Kavya Ratan Samman, Kavita Prabha Bhushan, Dinman Alamkar Samman in the realm of poetry. She is an active member of multiple literary bodies too, like ELSA, ELSA, and ELTAI, ELTAI. And she's also a singer. Her daughter follows her footsteps and also sings and writes beautifully. I invite you, dear Manju, and thank you for waiting patiently.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, first of all, I would like to thank Rupa ma'am for giving me this kind of opportunity and for such a beautiful introduction. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And yes, Professor Jarnail Singh Anand, he is a source for various kind of achievement and opportunity for me. And right now also it is again because of him I'm here, and I had a direct interaction with such a great author like Professor Nandini Sahu. And
Thank
yes,
you.
I would like to congratulate Professor Nandini Sahu for this new achievement, this award that has been conferred on her. So congratulations, ma'am. And
Thank
yes, I would like to thank International Academy of Ethics also for this beautiful opportunity that I have this opportunity to talk about again, Professor Nandini Sahu. So whenever I was just listening, all these things, whenever Sagar spoke about you, and when Ma'am Nandini also spoke about herself, and when Seema Ma'am also, spoke about her. So there was something that was coming that I was thinking. So I would like to share only those things. Like,
you.
there are so many authors who are writing, and there were so many authors who have already written. But whenever we are talking about Indian writing in English, I just remember Raja Rao. The things started with the Raja Rao when he wrote Kantapura, and then he introduced that, Indian style. Otherwise, there was a kind of like imitation. The Indian authors, they were imitating British authors. But Raja Rao came and then he introduced that meandering writing style, and Indian woman is talking about Indian stories, about Indian, life, Indian temperament. So the temperament of the story was Indian. I feel the similar kind of thing is done by Professor Nandini Sahu, because he that's why I remembered, it whenever the discussion was going on, it reminds me of Raja Rao, because Raja Rao says that we cannot write like English, and the second sentence that he said, that we should not write like the English people.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is something which is really worth doing. The Indian people, we have our own culture, we have our own mythology, and there are so many layers that have not been explored yet. And Professor Nandini Sahu has started doing, has initiated this work of unlayering the things. And whenever she discusses Sita in her poem, so obviously, whenever we are talking about eco-criticism and all, Vandana Shiva and so many other people are also talking about certain kind of things. So yes, we find that, who is Sita? Sita is nature. She is earth. Like Draupadi, like this kind of idea I got it. Like even Draupadi also, she is not a human being. She is nature. She is fire. We know that, they did not come from a human. And even I had a few lines from Professor Nandini Sahu's poem, Sita, when she says, I'm Sita, the earth's daughter, born of no womb, yet bound by love. My silence speaks, my trials sing. I am the fire, not just the ring. So this is something, that has given, this that has unlayered the things. There were multiple layers there in Indian mythology, and such kind of poems like Sita and the other poems also are a kind of I would say kind of like experimentation or innovation in literature, and this is something which is much required. Yeah, and another thing that I was thinking when Seema ma'am was saying that, rather Nandini ma'am said that there are some poems which have been prescribed in certain in the syllabus of certain universities. So I was just thinking of suggesting some poem by Nandini ma'am uh, to incorporate in our syllabus also. We have masters in English in our department, and we have even Indian writing in translation as well. So I would definitely propose a kind of change there in the syllabus, and I would recommend ma'am's poem there, because I'm the part of the board studies committee. So I would definitely do that. So congratulations, ma'am, and really I learned a lot. Whenever I heard you, I really learned a lot. So
Thank you.
it was really a wonderful experience to have an interaction with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your kind words. We will meet soon. All of us will meet soon in Kolkata.
This is so wonderful, Manju. And there's something called the cascading effect, the butterfly effect, where one starts and then it just spreads. So it's wonderful to hear that one's word and work inspires the other, be it Nandini, be it Dr. Anand, be it you, Manju, be it you, Seema, be it you, Swati. All of you are educators and influence minds and sculpt lives. And I request our dear Swati Basu, former assistant professor in the field of ELT and English, also our technical host today, to get ready with Lakshmi Shree's video since she could not be here. And while that is happening, I just want to share a few insights that Nandini shared with me.
Sure.
So Swati, while
I'll
you
do
are
it.
setting that video up, I'm
Sure.
just going to go over a few words. So Nandini, she is a seeker. She is deeply aware that the outer world is but a reflection of the inner. And how beautiful is her outside and inside, right, Nandini? She believes life is a layered narrative of choices, losses, silences, and self-renewals. As a thinker and writer, she's always believed literature is the most intimate form of knowledge production. For her, writing is not merely an act of expression, but a practice of resistance, healing, cultural reclamation. Living is an act of continuous self-questioning, and writing is where she gathers those questions to transform them into meaning. And in her leisure time, she reads not just books, but silences, sounds, textures of the everyday. She spends time in her garden tending to plants that don't speak but teach resilience. Classical music, especially Hindustani, is what forms her acoustic landscape. And it's so lovely to know this about you, Nandini, and so much more. And I just want to share a little bit, saying, you say poetry is home. It is where your breath aligns with the soul's rhythm. Folklore, however, is your archive, your rebellion, your reclamation of memory. And you have also actually said, as an educator and vice chancellor, you take pride in nurturing a university space where languages, literatures, and marginalized epistemes are celebrated. And we, Nandini, are so proud you joined us today with the IAE work, the thinking, the vision that Dr. Anand has started. You are, you say, merely a channel in a larger cosmic narrative. And how important are you? We all understand that. And you've set for the people who want to aspire to be like you to read widely, feel deeply, observe quietly, write with social commitment, create a journal of dreams and thoughts and questions, learn to listen to silences. They teach you way more than words. And you say, discipline your mind, but allow your soul to wander. And the best that I love the most is write without apology and revise without ego, or edit without ego. So this is Nandini. Of course, there's so much more to say, but I don't think it's fair I can do justice. So I request dear Swati Basu to please start the video from Lakshmi Shri. Swati, you may need to unmute yourself. We don't hear her video.
I have already unmuted myself.
We don't hear her at all.
It is like, and volume is also 100.
Dear friend, Professor Nandini Sahu, and I'm sorry that I could not be present for the webinar because I'm in the hospital and I'm late. This is a video I was sending in honor of Nandini. She is an extraordinary woman who with extraordinary courage, fortitude, resilience, perseverance, diligence, dignity, everything that makes a woman not just powerful, but strong. And above all, I've known her for a very long time. I've known her for a very long time. She's not just an exemplary leader of people, having worked for the diverse areas of literature, culture, and humanity, but also having risen herself, having carved her own life against ordeals and tribulations untold. So salutations and congratulations, Nandini. I'm sorry that I could not make it to the webinar because I had to go to the hospital for my only child, but I still feel that God will bless you forever for your extraordinary humility, humanity, and goodness of heart.
Thank you, Lakshmi Shri, for your video and your words for dear Nandini. Dr. Anand, I request you to please come and share your insights for all of us, including Dr. Sagar, who's not here, who spent a few minutes with us. Over to you, Dr. Anand.
Okay, thank you so much. Today's program The event was highly fruitful, and we were actually face to face with a great scholar, academician, a lover of humanity, and a lover of literature, for which, on behalf of the International Academy of Ethics, I extend my thanks to Dr. Nandini Sahu for being with us. At the same time, I also thank Dr. Beena Singh, who came for some time because she was busy, Dr. Seema Jain, Dr. Manju Chauhan, Dr. Sagar, and Rupaji and Swati for making this program a success. Now, after listening to all this, one or two observations I would like to make here. First thing is that since Dr. Nandini Sahu is associated with course formation for universities, we would like that somehow, somewhere, at some place, ethics should become a part of our curriculum. Because in the absence of this study, whatever we are doing is actually half done. We are not creating human beings. We are creating people who are obsessed with success. So, in order to make them human, we need to give them injections of humanity, which are possible only in two ways. One is that we start we don't say it should be 100% ethics. Some dose of values, some dose of ethics should be there, number one. Secondly, what we are witnessing here, my daughter is teaching in a school, very good school in Chandigarh, and my son is a teacher, is a professor of English in a DAV college at Chandigarh. But he is telling me, and she is telling me, that is the grassroots reality. My daughter says, forget about Shakespeare, forget about Wordsworth. There will be no Wordsworth, there will be no Shakespeare. There is only dry English language teaching which is going on. And same thing, my son told me. He's teaching BA, BCom, and all this. So the ground reality is that we have removed all literature from studies. There is only language-based writing. So this is a very serious thing because literature is the only thing which teaches the humanity, goodness to people. If we are good to some extent, this is because of the literature that we have learned. Moreover, one more thing is I want to point out that in the colleges and universities where we are teaching the students to learn economics, to learn commerce, to learn IT. Now just imagine a man who learns IT, he will be in the office for 8 hours, for 10 hours, for 12 hours. But a day has 24 hours. For the rest 12 hours, where he will be? He will be at his home. He needs this also. He needs humanity. He needs to feel. He needs to, be original. We don't want the thing as things are going on. So, Dr. Nandini is, I think, the right person to talk to, that we have to guard against erosion of literature from our syllabus. So, next point which I have is that all those who are associated with the International Academy of Ethics, it will be a matter of our pride if they introduce a single line in their CV that they are a member of the International Academy of Ethics in whatever capacity they are. So, with these words, I would say that it was a very fruitful, very satisfying session today. We are proud to have Dr. Nandini Sahu as a fellow of the Academy. And in future also, we would like to interact. We published a book, Handbook of Contemporary Ethics. And we also know these things won't work in society. Nobody goes for ethics, nobody goes for value, nobody. We like to see, serials like Ramayana and Mahabharata. We like them, but we like them only as films.
Right.
They're full of thrills. Somebody is killing somebody. That's wonderful. So this is how we look at these things. And I think we need some sort of, ethical training, moral training, not only academic. I mean, it should be real. Real. I just tell you, we are coming up with a story book of stories, in which we have asked the people to contribute 300 words of a story of 300 words, but it should not be a story because a story is fiction. Fiction means it is not real. We want a real time story of love, compassion, and sacrifice so that we could showcase to the people that goodness exists in our society. Our newspapers are talking only of evil, only of scamsters. They never give any space for anything that if you want to do good some to society, you will have to make so many people to tell them, please publish my news. Okay, if something evil is done, then you don't need anybody to argue. They will come themselves. This type of system that is growing in our society, good has been sidelined, marginalized. Nobody bothers about it. We are here as its propagators, proponents, protagonists. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Nandini. So nice of you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Rupa, anything to say?
Unmute yourself, please.
My apologies. I forgot to unmute myself. So, Nandini, thank you so much for coming, joining us, and we are delighted and thrilled and honored to have you as a fellow at IAE. And dear Seema, dear Manju, dear Swati, and of course, Dr. Anand, without you, this would be impossible. And any parting words, Nandini, before we wrap up the session?
Okay. I thoroughly enjoyed the discourses today. Everyone was very particular about the spirit of the program. So introducing ethics in literature, that was the spirit. Writing social mobility literature, writing literature of purpose, where literature is not just word juggling, like I said, but literature of responsibility, accountability, and commitment you all have been doing. And in the process, if you need my help and support anywhere, please feel free to let me know. I would always be there to encourage the scholars and the work that you people have been doing. And thank you very much, IAE, International Academy of Ethics, for inviting me to receive this honor. This is a milestone and this is very, very important for me. Thanks a lot, Rupa and Dr. Anand and Seema and everybody. Namaskar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nandini. And we also like to thank, on behalf of IAE and Dr. Anand, Maya, who's not here, who's left from the event, and Lakshmi Sri, who needs to attend to her daughter. And we thank everyone who will be listening in, and we would like you to think a little more and drop your comments on what you think about the event and the work that is happening in the space of ethics. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, good night.